everyone and welcome to the Back to Blighty podcast. My name is Becky and I am joining you from the south coast of England where I live with my partner and our Springer Spaniel called Molly, who is now 15. She's over 15 years old. This is where I talk about all things yarn related, so some weaving, spinning, knitting, crochet and anything else yarny that might take my fancy. So welcome if you are a new viewer and welcome if you're a returning viewer. It is so lovely that you're here and spending a little bit of time with me today. I've been quite busy. It's been a strange old time for me. I have not done so much of my vlogginess this time because I have had the dreaded COVID. It's my first time and yeah, I was quite poorly with it actually, and it stayed positive for about 11 days. And for quite a bit of that I was draped over my sofa or in bed and I was quite poorly, and I had a lovely weekend in Yorkshire with some family and friends, and unfortunately I brought it back with me and had the temperature, the cold, the vomiting, everything. I mean, you could possibly imagine. And then 5 days later, Leon went down with it, my other half, as well, and he had just a sniffle. I was literally laid out, he just had a sniffle and worked through it. Yeah, kept saying I had man flu. So yeah, so that was eventful. But I did manage to go away, and yeah, I went down with COVID right at the beginning of term. And for those of you that don't know, I work in education, so I kind of missed the whole beginning of term and a new year, so that it wasn't the best. But anyway, it meant that I haven't been out and about as much, so I haven't been able to record a lot of nature, which is kind of what I really like to do nowadays. But I have recorded a few of the new autumnal changes that are starting to happen in the garden, so you can see a bit of that. But I have been busy with my knitting and with my crochet. I have 5 finished objects. Can you believe that? I don't know what happened, considering that when I had COVID I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even hold a knitting needle. It was quite pathetic, to be honest. But I have actually still managed to get quite a bit done, and so that's why I wanted to hop on over here and record a podcast. This is the 40th podcast, by the way, just in case you wondered. Clearly a bit out of practice, still a bit of COVID fog going on. Anyway, let's not mention the C word anymore. My first finished object is a pair of socks, and these are the Wyatt socks by Crazy Sock Lady Designs, which is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. And this yarn is using Elaine from Skein Lane. I don't know, Elaine, if you call it Skein Lane or Skeen Lane. I pronounce Skein. So I'm sorry if I've completely got that wrong. I will put the details to Elaine's shop down below, but she gifted me this gorgeous Red Admiral set and I have finally got round to knitting it up. So this is the Wyatt socks, well, these are the Wyatt socks, and they have this gorgeous textured top, and then I have just done a afterthought heel, wedge toe and 2x2 rib. I'm not going to lie, the afterthought heel, I got both of them wrong. I mucked up both of them. I've lost my touch. It was just after COVID hit me, so I blame that. But for some reason, I couldn't pick up on the same row. So I was, with an afterthought heel, you pick up the stitches going across, then you leave a row and then you pick up the stitches again and then you cut the yarn. I was going off piste. I was like picking one row and then going down to the next row, and oh, honestly, it was such a mess. It took me ages to do these heels, but I did it. I persevered. There were a few choice words, shall we say, but yeah, I did get them done, and they are beautiful and just, oh, how autumnal are they? They are just absolutely my jam. So what can I say, Elaine, thank you so much for gifting me this yarn. There was a 50 gram skein for the main colour, and I literally used up every single scrap of that, and I've got some of the yellow left over. So 50 grams skein makes a good sized pair of socks, ladies socks. I'm ladies 5, without wastage. So I do like to myself dye 50 gram skeins. Oh, and I have been doing a bit of dyeing, so yeah, might be something in the shop soon. Anyway, thanks Elaine, I love them. So that's my first finished object. I'll pop them back there on my knob. That sounded really bad. Anyway, moving on. Okay, a big old project. I am so proud of myself. So I have done, as you know, I've done a couple of little crochet toy things, but I have now finished my first proper crochet project. I got my Battenberg blanket done, and here it is. It's so gorgeous. So I'm going to stand up so you can kind of see just how big it is. I love this blanket so much. So I have done 12 squares by 12 squares. I will pop a picture in actually of it in its full glory. I put a post on Instagram and you can see it a bit better there. But I use Sheepy's, I know that's not how you pronounce it, forgive me, Sheepy's Soft Fun. And this was just a rainbow box that I think I got from Wool Warehouse or Lovecraft, I can't remember. And it had all these gorgeous colours in, and then I just bought some larger balls of the white. The border I did not do as written. I just did it slightly differently. I just kind of wanted to finish, and I thought I'm not bothered about a massive border on it. So yeah, so happy. And this is going to live on the futon here in my room of requirement, where I can look at all my yarn and knit and read and do all the lovely things that you would do in a room of requirement. So I am very happy with my crochet blanket, and I feel like, can I say that I can now crochet? Maybe not quite, but I'm getting there. But I have done some other crochet projects and finished them. So I bought some lovely wool from We Are Knitters, and this is called The Wool, and I made a cowl which is patterned by Emma from Potter and Bloom. She has a podcast and I will link it below, but she has this gorgeous cowl pattern that I finished. Something white on there. This is the trouble. You know, who knows what you're going to get on my knitting, because I have a white dog as well. Anyway, this is the Calla cow. So I was just thinking, because I'm going to talk about some books later, and one of the characters in the book is called Calla, which is why I kind of second guessed it. But it's a beautiful beginner project. I've got an end here, but we'll pretend that never happened, and I'll pop it on for you. Put my glasses down there before I knock them off my face. Oh, look. This makes me so happy. This is like proper autumn, isn't it? I love the colour. The colour is Bordeaux, and I kind of want a jumper in this colour. Oh, but love it. Absolutely love it. It is going to be the best cowl for the winter, and obviously with the winter fuel bill and the crisis we've got going on there, every bit of wool and warmth helps. So yeah, let's knit all the chunky things. This was in like a super chunky, and it took me 20 minutes to do. Emma does a great tutorial. It's a free pattern. It is on Ravelry, but if you also go onto her podcast, her YouTube channel, you will find the tutorial for this. The only difference I did make was I made some increases at the bottom so that it sits a little more, a little bit wider at the bottom. Not that you would really notice, but you know, newbie crocheter, and I'm already trying to adapt things. But anyway, must sew that end in. So that's my calico, which was a lovely pattern to do. And another crochet finished object, I've got a mini tortoise. There we go. It took a while for it to actually focus there. A little mini tortoise. And this is a pattern by the amazing Kerry Lord from Toft, and it was in her book Pets. I'm looking up there because the book is up there somewhere. I think it's Pets. And yeah, he's a bit wonky, but this was a COVID project, and I started trying to do this when I first went down with it, and it took me about 3 days. It was painful. But yeah, he's my little COVID tortoise. So never thought I would be a toy maker necessarily, but I enjoy a little toy, and he's just going to hang out until some little hands find him. That's the plan. So yeah, if there's any little people that come and visit me and they see it and they want it, they can have it. So yeah, so that is another finished object. What else have I got? Oh, I'm very happy with this. So this is my 5th, you know, boasting, 5th finished object. And I absolutely love this project for 2 reasons. Because first of all, it's finished object, it's useful, but also because it used scrap yarn. So this is my scrap yarn blanket. No, it's not. It's my scrap yarn basket. And this is a pattern by, oh, hold on a second. It's by Cynthia Gonzalez. I hope I've said that right. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and the idea is that you use all your odds and ends to make a basket, and you hold 5, I think I held 5 yarns together with a 9mm hook, and I crocheted this beauty, and there's even some sparkle in there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some sparkle going on. I did, are we in focus? Yes, I did hold just like a cream coloured, I think it was a Drops Lima or something was in there, that I continued throughout the whole thing because I had loads of that left over. But I love it. So it's got my Sheepies Soft Fun in some autumnal colours there, which are going to be a blanket at some point. But you make a circle, you increase, you stop increasing, you make the sides, and then you make these lovely little handles, and you kind of cast off. Do you cast off in crochet? Is it hook off? I don't know. I think you cast off. Anyway, I'm going to make so many more of these. They're great gifts. They just get rid of so much stash yarn, especially like some of this was kind of had some acrylic content, which I'd used in weaving projects and things like that, and there was just not enough to make anything with, or the colour wasn't something that I would necessarily make something out of. So yeah, it went into this basket. I love this project. Many more in my future. Okay, so they are all my finished objects, but I have got some whips to show you. I've got a few whips, so I'm going to have a quick shift about and then I'll be back with them. Right, we're back. I wanted to show you first a very long-standing project here on the podcast, and you will have seen this, but I haven't shown it to you since winter, I don't think, because I haven't actually been knitting on it. But lately I have completely got immersed in this project again. It is a sweater, or a jumper as we call it in the UK, out of the Vintage Shetland project by Susan Crawford, and Jack, my son, bought this for me a few years ago now, and it is the most beautiful knitting book. I want to knit so many things out of this. Anyway, I am knitting the Yule sweater, which is my favourite sweater in the whole book, and this is what it looks like. How gorgeous is that? It is a unisex jumper. In fact, I can show you a guy wearing it as well. So yeah, this jumper is made in Jameson 2-ply jumper weight, and I wanted to check the needle size because they are tiny, tiny needles. 2.75. That's why it's taking me so long. So I'm going to pop the book down, so excuse the bang. There we go. And I have been making some progress on this jumper. and I love it. I still adore it. Last winter I said that it was going to be my Christmas jumper this year. We'll see. I'm not going to make any promises, maybe next year. Anyway, but I have made some really good progress on this jumper. Just get rid of that. So let me sort out my ends and find my needles. It's okay. For a minute there, did you hear that really pregnant pause? Did you feel the tension? I thought my needles might have slipped inside. That would be like my worst nightmare. Okay, I would have cried. I would have cried on the podcast. Okay, so this is as far as I've got. This is how we are doing. I have finally got past the armholes. I'll give you a close-up of how it's looking. Oh, it is just absolutely beautiful. So yes, I have steeked. I've made steeks for the armholes. Here's one here. So you can see there's a hole here now, and these are the steeks for the arms. So I am literally kind of here, which makes me so happy, and I am zipping through. When I say zipping through, I mean 2.75mm needles, zipping through reasonably. I mean, one row does take quite a long time. I should actually time how long a row takes, but I am absolutely, I'm going to finish this definitely. When? Who knows? But I am going to finish this jumper, and look, I can wear it with my dungies. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, loving it. I mean, we're not going to pay attention to the end stitch. I mean, there's quite a lot of them, and in fact I might sew some of them in because they're already starting to kind of felt together a little bit, so I don't want that to happen. Oh yeah, so I'm going to have to do that soon. But I am absolutely loving this project. Susan Crawford's patterns are just, yeah, so clear. The charts are really clear, and I love the colours on this. Shall we just pause to take in the beauty that is the Eel Sweater? Okay, right, let's put that away. The other thing I found in the bottom of my Marauders map bag, which is quite a big bag, is some yarn that I was making a shawl with, and I'm thinking that I might actually frog it because I'm just not feeling it anymore. There's another colour in here somewhere. I'm trying not to get the whole bag out because there's a big cone of Jameson Smith in there, but these are the colours that I've got going on, which I love those colours. And this is the shawl that I was making, which was a Stephen West shawl, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but I'm sure you'll be shouting it at the screen. It was this one. I don't think I'm ever going to wear it, though. I think I'm going to rip it out. I think I'm going to frog it. It doesn't bother me to frog. I find it quite cathartic, so yeah, I'm quite happy to frog it, but it's just languishing now, and I need to get going with that. And I can barely fit my jumper in there as well with that massive cone, so something's got to go, and I think it might be the shawl. So that's a whip that I've got on the go at the moment. I've also got a pair of socks. So this is in West Yorkshire Spinners. You will have probably all seen the yarn before. I got it last year, and it is vintage tinsel and some red. So they're the colours that I'm using, with some sparkles. Oh, look at those sparkles. And this is as far as I've got. Just doing a plain sock in my normal format, which is 64 stitches on 2.25mm needles. I've done a twisted rib, and I'm just zooming down. So there's the rib, and I'm just tinking away at that. And these socks are going to be a little bit longer than my Wyatt socks because I want them to go in my, I've got some brown fur-lined DMs that I've had for years, and I like my socks to be a bit longer for the winter. So yeah, so they are going to just live in my bag in the car. Sometimes when I rock up for work and I'm 5 minutes early for a meeting, then I will whip them out and get a few rows of that done, and that's living in my Hide and Hammer bag. And then my final whip that I've got at the moment is a cardigan, and this is a cardigan by We Are Knitters. It's actually a kit, and it was so affordable. I can't remember how much it was, but it was so affordable for a cardigan, and it's 100% wool. And it's called the May cardigan, I think that's how you pronounce it. I have no clue. I will pop a picture on the screen so that you can have a look, and it's kind of an oversized cardigan with this lovely, really simple stitch pattern, which reminds me of corn. Reminds me of the sort of corn heads that you get when you're walking through the cornfields. So anyway, so I ended up buying not only the pattern, but I bought the yarn. This is the yarn. It is it's called, what's it called? Let me just get one with a band on. It would make things much simpler. There we go. It's called the Petite Wool. Pop that one back in there. It's called the Petite Wool. There we go. And this is in the colourway Forest Green. I'm sorry about that brief interlude. My battery ran out, so I had to go and change it. Yeah, I'm making the May cardigan, as I was showing you the yarn, I believe. It is knit in pieces, so I have made the back, and I just love this colour. This forest green is just beautiful, and it goes so nicely with that. Look how autumnal that looks. Anyway, so yeah, so I've done the back. This is, let me give you a close-up of the stitch pattern. There we go. It's blowing out a bit. You kind of get the idea. Yeah, so I've done the back, and I am working up one of the fronts, nearly finished a front. And then yeah, another front and 2 sleeves, and then that will be done. But it's on some good old chunky needles, so it doesn't take very long. Working on the front, and these needles are brilliant. They're 6mm, but they came with the kit, and they are gorgeous to work with. So they are these lovely wooden needles, and the cord is really lovely and pliable, but they're just perfect, and they're kind of a bit slippy, and they just work really well. So yeah, so look, it's all rolling up, but I've done quite a length of one of the fronts. So yeah, so that is my final whip. There's a couple of other things that I have got on the needles. Well, actually one that I can think of that I'm also thinking of frogging, but I haven't decided that. And I also started knitting the Musselburgh hat in some lovely yarn that Ali bought me last Christmas, and I started knitting it and I don't like it. It's not the right project for the yarn. So I'm going to rip that back and think of something else. I'm thinking about maybe some floof. Maybe floof would be good with that yarn. Anyway, yeah, we will see. The only other whip that I've got to talk to you about really is my weaving project that is up there on my rigid heddle loom. And this is a clasped weft project. I find it so hard to say that. And I showed a little bit in my last little vlog about how I'm weaving it. It's done with my own hand-dyed yarn, back to Blighty yarn, and yeah, I'm quite enjoying that at the moment, but I haven't done any more on it since you last saw that footage, so I need to be getting on with that. But I've done several inches of it now, so I need to just get on with it. I don't know what it's going to be. It might end up being bags or a cushion cover or a scarf. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I am quite enjoying that at the moment, and kind of like just a slow project, which yeah, I think is going to look really lovely when it's done. Let's talk acquisition, shall we? Now I've only got a couple to show you, but I have some en route. Yes, there is some coming. There's just a few bits coming, which I won't share today because, you know, that will be for the next podcast. But I have bought a couple of things. Now the first thing I bought was a couple of kits from Toft. So I got a couple of the flower bouquets. So these come all beautifully wrapped in tissue paper. Yeah, they're really gorgeous. And I got two. So I'll show you the ones I bought. And I completely blame Martyn from the Knit 365 podcast for this, because he did the poinsettia. And I just loved it. I absolutely thought it was the most cute thing, that I needed one of these. So yeah, I have a poinsettia to do. How cute is that? And the other one I have to do is a daisy. Aren't they just the most gorgeous things? So yeah, so you get one of these with the pattern obviously inside, and yeah, and I'm thinking I might do the poinsettia for Vlogmas, because I'm thinking I'll probably do Vlogmas again this year, so I might do that as part of my advent. So I've got two flowers to do, which I think are going to look fab on my shelves. I've got quite a lot of plants and things on my shelves over there, so I'm thinking, you know, a couple of knitted ones snuck in there might be quite cool. So got them. This yarn is obviously Toft's DK yarn, which is lovely to crochet with. I didn't get the crochet hook because I have one. So yeah, so I just got the yarn and the pattern. But yeah, looking forward to doing them. So I think the daisy will probably be first, and then I might save the poinsettia for later in the year. The other yarn that I bought is some Let Lopey. This is shade 58. I can't remember. Was it charcoal grey? It's quite a dark grey anyway. Yeah, so I bought 7 skeins of this, and I was going to make a crochet shawl. In fact, I cast one on and I undid it, and then I changed the hook size because I wasn't happy with the fabric that it produced, and then I doubled up the yarn, and I wasn't feeling it. I just felt that this is the wrong pattern for this yarn. So I am looking for an Aran weight shawl pattern. The reason I want to make a shawl is because I made my crystal shawl out of Plutulopi, which I will pop a picture in here just in case you haven't seen that, and I wear that to death in the winter. It's just the most lightweight, warm but breathable shawl. It's my most worn shawl, so I wanted to make another one in Let Lopey or in Lopey yarn, because I just feel that it really traps the heat in, but also doesn't make you overheat. It's a really great yarn to work with. If you haven't used it before, I completely recommend. I also made my Braids of Grass sweater out of Let Lopey, which I love and has worn beautifully well. Anyway, digressing. So I want to make a shawl. I've decided I'm going to knit a shawl. I don't want something that's full of lace. I don't want something that's full of cables. I want a happy medium. So I want something with a bit of something, but also a bit of mindlessness as well. So if you've got any ideas, there's a couple I've seen, which I can't think of the names, but if you've got any ideas for an Aran weight shawl, let me know. I would be so interested. So yeah, I will be casting on this soon because I need another neutral shawl, and I've got the brown one, and I think actually a grey one is a nice alternative. Yeah, so I've got some Let Lopey. As I said, I've got a couple of other things coming in very soon, but yeah, I won't talk about them now because I haven't got them to share with you. Oh, talking so quick. Okay, what else have I got to tell you about? Okay, I've got a few books I would like to share with you, so I'm going to reach over here and get them. It's a lot of stretching today, guys. It's like a yoga session. Right, okay, the first book that I read just before I went up onto the North York Moors. We go up there quite regularly to see friends and family, and often I meet my son Jack there because he now lives in the northeast of England. So it's kind of, yeah, a couple of hours for him, about 6 for us. But anyway, so we go up there, and I started reading this book from the library just before we went. But the interesting thing was, and what I didn't realise, is it is actually set around Robin Hood's Bay and that area that we were staying in. So this is a story called The Offing, and it's by Benjamin Myers. Oh, sorry, the light's shining on it. Benjamin Myers. Yeah, I got this from the library, and it was a wonderful, wonderful read. And it's about a young man called Robert who, the summer after the Second World War ends, decides to go kind of for a hike, I guess. He kind of decides to live in nature, live off the land, just get work where he can, and kind of recoup after the Second World War. He is due to go back after a small period of time to start working in the coal mines like his father did and his father before him. But anyway, he goes wandering and he stumbles upon Robin Hood's Bay and that area, and also a cottage where an elderly lady lives, and she loves poetry. And they strike up a most unusual relationship, basically, their friendship, and that's what this book is about. It's all about their friendship, and it is just stunning and it's beautiful. And obviously for me, you know, I know a little bit about that area, and so I kind of knew where they were talking about, and it was just a really lovely book. So I really enjoyed it. It's called The Offing. I won't tell you why it's called The Offing, because that's part of the story. And you'll find out what the offing is. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It's kind of got humour in it, it's got loss in it, it's, yeah, just beautiful. So I do recommend The Offing. As I said, got this from the library and I need to take it back actually, otherwise I'm going to be getting told off. Another book that I read recently which made me cry. It was so beautiful. And some of you may have seen the film, some of you have probably read the book, but it's A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. And this copy is illustrated by Jim Kay. And honestly, the illustrations are beautiful in this book. So there you go, there's one. They're all in black and white. And there's lots of fab pictures. There's another one there. But also what's really lovely in it is that it actually has pictures on the text as well, which I really love, on the pages of the text, which I really love. And this is about a young boy who has a monster visit him. And his mother at the same time is going through cancer treatment. And it is so beautiful, but it did make me cry. It is sad. But it's a wonderful, wonderful story, and this will go on my forever bookshelf because I loved it so much. Yeah, it was exceptional. And one that I'm reading at the moment is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, and this is about a girl called Calla, the Calla Cow, and the girl called Calla. So a young woman, should I say, called Calla, who hasn't seen her father, who is runs an airline, if you like, through Alaska. When I say an airline, it's like little tiny planes, you know, getting supplies in, things like that. She hasn't seen him for about 12 years, and she goes to Alaska to meet him because he also has cancer. It's a theme. He also has cancer. And he is going through treatment. So it's about her relationship with him, the 12 years that they've lost, but also there's a bit of a romance in there as well, which is really nice. So it's yeah, it's a nice read. It's just like it's a bit like vanilla knitting, you know, potato chip knitting. It's that in a book, if you see what I mean. But I'm really enjoying it. It's quite a nice story. So we'll see what happens with her and her father, and I will report back in my next podcast. So otherwise, what else have I got to tell you? My son Jack. So my son Jack, who is Slip Slip Ginge on Instagram, has recorded 2 episodes of a new podcast. So I will put a link to his YouTube channel down below. Please go and check him out and share the love. I think he's amazing. might be biased, but yeah, it's lovely, and it's so lovely to see him getting back into his knitting again, and he's, you know, he's doing some gorgeous colourwork socks, which I kind of want, and I'm hoping that, you know, Christmas I've been really good, just saying, Jack. Yeah, but do go over and check out his channel. Yeah, he's wonderful, and I can't say any more. Go and check him out. The other person I wanted to shout out on here as well, podcast wise, is the lovely Jen, who is my son's girlfriend, and she is a crocheter. So for all of you crochet fans, definitely hop over to see Jen's podcast. She again has done 2 episodes, and she makes the most amazing things, and she has got a yarn stash to die for. So definitely go and check out her. She has Chonky Stitches on Instagram as well, so I will link all of that down below, so please go over and check them out and show your support, which I know you will. Right, what else? I have been back at work. Obviously I'm on a bit of a back foot with work because I started the term a bit late because of the C word. So I was a bit late getting back into the swing of things, but I'm busy sort of having meetings, terming agreement plans with schools, things like that, and looking at my allocated hours in each school. And so I'm in the process of that, and once I've got that, I then know what my work is going to look like for the rest of the term, which will be really nice. But I feel like I'm a bit on the back foot, but it will get there, it's fine. And I'm enjoying being back, although it's been hard. I mean, I have a lovely long summer, so, you know, not gonna lie, I quite like not working in the summer, so it's a bit of a shock to come back, but I'm back at work. And also we are back at Warmest this evening, so this will be our first practice. They've been practicing before, but obviously the C word. So it'll be our first practice again, so I don't know quite how fit I feel. I mean, I feel well, but I mean physically, you know, I haven't done any exercise for a while, so not in that sort of vein anyway. So I'm looking forward to going and meeting the rest of the side again this evening, which will be good. So other than that, there's not a lot else to report. Life is just ticking by as normal. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. I hope you enjoyed your time over here, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you see, and I will leave it there, and I'll catch up with you next time. Until then, take care. Bye.